Hi, this is Jana and welcome to my kitchen. Today is the much anticipated, promised artichoke and shrimp linguine recipe. I have made this recipe since, 36 years ago. I'm going to start with about a half a cup of olive oil. Just as easy as that. And then, optional, if you like a little spice, add some red pepper flake. That's quite a bit, but we like things spicy around here. I'm going to let that begin to sizzle, and there it goes. And now I'm going to add some garlic, fresh garlic, shaved. Turn my heat down just a little bit there, because we don't want to fry our garlic. We just want it to be warmed. And I've got as many cloves as you like. I think I have about 5 large cloves in here, but that's just our family, so I don't expect you to do that many. There it is. And you want that to be about 30 seconds. That's a little faster than I need it to be. And then I'm going to add in, this is really a dump recipe, and so I'm going to add in 3 cans today. But if you're just doing it for 1 or 2 people, you might want to just add in 1 can, okay, depending upon how big of an eater you are. So basically 1 or 2 cloves of fresh garlic per can of diced tomatoes. And these already have basil, garlic, and oregano in them. Now I'm going to turn my heat back up since I've got that cooled down. This is so fast. This is a meal that you can make when you get home from work. And how I got this recipe, well, I made it up, and that's how I got a lot of my recipes, is way back before I had internet, before there was an internet. I had a, Erin, it's okay, you can put them out. We've got 2 golden retrievers, and they are looking for my husband, and so they think he's outside because he's here, and they know he's here. But anyway, how this started was, back in the mid-1980s, dating myself, I was a young lady and I just moved to a new town and I got a job, and every time I got a performance review at my job, my boss Bob would take me out for lunch. That was such a gesture that I was so appreciative of. Anyway, we went to this restaurant. It's no longer there in Grand Rapids, Michigan, and it was called Charlie's Crab, and it was over the river, the Grand River, and it was absolutely a beautiful restaurant. And one time when I was there, they had a daily special, and it was artichoke and shrimp linguine. And so I was so in love with that. But of course, we were on a budget right then because my husband was still in school, and so I did not go there to eat it on my own. And so anyway, I had to learn to make it. So I just made it up myself. And so what we've got are those 3 cans of tomatoes, and I'm bringing it back up to a boil here. And then I've got some Mexican oregano, but you can use any oregano. And I put in about a half a tablespoon per can. So there we go. And then I have some sweet basil. And I would say put in about a teaspoon per can of tomatoes. And I have a little bit of Italian herb. You don't have to do that, but for sure you want to do some basil and oregano, and you of course can do fresh. But this is a last minute dump meal. And so I'm going to let this simmer now just to cook the tomatoes. Even though they're mostly cooked, I just want them to soften and to begin to develop. And because the canned tomatoes are canned tomatoes, they can be a little acidic. This is optional. If you want to, add a little teaspoon or 2 of sugar to the sauce. And it makes a nice glistening sauce. And while those tomatoes are cooking down, I have a jar of whole tender artichokes. These are not marinated, and I get them at Sam's Club, and they're a big jar for $7, and they're absolutely perfect, and they're small. They're already perfect, and so I'm going to add those in. I had a half a jar left from the last time I made it, so I'm going to add those in. And those are going to cook with my tomatoes, and we're going to be back in probably about 5-7 minutes. I've got my water coming to a boil here, and I'm going to probably by the time you see me again, I'm going to be about starting my pasta. And so that's as easy as this meal is, other than we're going to be adding the shrimp. So we'll see you in a few minutes. Okay, we're back. It's actually been about 10 minutes because what I was actually looking for is for the tomatoes to kind of start to get softened instead of just hard. Not all the way. It's like some of them, were probably a little bit greener, but some of these are easily, you can tell they're more softened. And so, and by the way, you can also use your garden. This is a great way to use your garden cherry tomatoes or grape tomatoes. You know how they are when they start coming? They are like, what am I doing with all this? You can't possibly eat that many salads. I've also used the grape tomatoes to make this. And I'm sure any tomato, you can do that. But I've used the grape tomatoes. All right, as you can see, I've got, this is reduced a little bit because I've been simmering it, okay? And so I'm going to add my shrimp in now. And then I'm going to add a little bit of my pasta water. My pasta's got about 2.5 minutes left on it. And then my linguine right here. I can always kind of tell when I'm stirring it. And so it's just about done. And then I'm going to put in a couple scoops of that pasta water. So I'm going to now add in my shrimp. What I have, and you can use any size shrimp that you like. I've got peeled and deveined thawed shrimp. And so, but I left the tail on them, and you don't have to do that, but I will tell you what, they have a lot more flavor in your sauce if you leave the tail on. And then it's kind of a rustic dish, and so as you're eating your pasta, you just pick your shrimp up with your finger or your fork if you're fancy, and then you just bite the shrimp off. Pretty simple. And so this pasta is just about done, so I'm going to add just a little bit, not a lot of it. That's probably about a cup of pasta water. And then this is where we simmer. We do not boil these. We're going to simmer in that hot, because that's oil and the tomatoes, and just until they turn pink. You do not want to overcook these shrimp or they'll just get hard and rubbery. And so as soon as they turn pink, shut that fire off and you're ready to serve. That's why it's important to time your pasta out. And so I'm going to add, since I added those shrimps, I'm going to add about a teaspoon, maybe, of salt. Remember, those tomatoes are already salted when you use the canned ones. And I'm going to add a little bit of pepper, even though we have red pepper flakes in there. I like the taste of black pepper. I might add one more scoop of sauce, of pasta water. Because we like a little sauce on our pasta. There we go. And these are already starting to see, they're already starting to turn pink, and I hardly have anything boiling. It's just that the ingredients in here are already hot. And that oil is going to be like poaching those shrimp in oil, because we've got that olive oil in there. This is, so look at, they're already just about done. So I'm just going to move some of those that aren't quite done down into that sauce. So I'm going to go drain my pasta here in a minute, and we'll be back, and I'm going to serve this up. Welcome back, and look at this dish. It is beautiful. That is the prettiest colors. That just looks like Italy, doesn't it? So I'm going to scoop up my husband's dinner. He is absolutely crazy about pasta. If some of you who follow me know, he is all about pasta, noodles. So I've got his linguine all ready. I'm going to go in here and I'm going to scoop the shrimp, some artichokes, and get some of that sauce because this is pasta. And look at that. Everything on here is healthy. Every bit of it is healthy, other than maybe the pasta itself. But you know, that's wheat, so that's just like eating a good carb meal. But he's out working out in the garage today, so it's He's going to need some. He's been riding his bike and exercising and going to the gym. So this is perfect. Everything in here hardly has any calories other than the pasta and the olive oil, but that's a good fat for you. So I'm going to add a little bit of Parmesan cheese to the top. Fresh grated, okay? I had some Parmigiano Reggiano, but use what you have. And it is mealtime. Look at that. Perfect. Thank you for stopping by Jana's Kitchen. Please hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and please come back and see us and make a comment below. Let me know how you like my recipe.